What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, but most importantly, please make sure you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today we have to head back over to New Venezuela because I have some new news on Eric Adams, and I want to discuss how his meeting went with Tom Homan. But first, we must discuss what happened after that meeting. After that meeting, complete mayhem broke out in the streets with anti-ICE, anti-mass deportation protesters. What is the madness that broke out in the streets? We'll start here. What happens if you're no longer living? If you're no longer living, that means you died, right? The word is die. Okay. I'm speaking like this for a reason, because I'm going to have to omit that word in just a moment, and you're going to understand why. And that's right now. During the anti-ICE protests, you had a bunch of lunatics waving foreign flags while issuing out threats. They're waving foreign flags while chanting, Elon Musk must fill in the blank. Elon Musk must. Now, I don't condone that. I don't subscribe to that. And I reject that, just in case YouTube still tries to give me an issue for the YouTube manual reviewer. I'm just reporting on what was going on in New York City, now known as New Venezuela. But that's what they were doing. Now, I'm going to play the video for you right now. But in the video, I'm going to omit that word, obviously, as well. Look at this craziness here. This is crazy. This is complete madness on a whole nother level. People are walking in the streets of New York City. You're in America, waving foreign flags, chanting that people who are in government, like it or not, which Elon Musk is, chanting that they must no longer be walking this earth, waving foreign flags while issuing threats in the street. If that's not a hostile takeover, I don't know what is, but I don't want to belabor the point, so we'll leave it there. Now what I want to do is shift on over to the meeting with Tom Homan and Eric Adams, right? First, I want to discuss this, and it'll help kind of lighten up the mood a little bit too. We're going to take a sip of some liberal tears, right? As you all know, Donald Trump signed an executive order not too long ago pausing FEMA funds that were supposed to go to New York City. There were FEMA employees who I assume are DNC lunatics who sent that money out anyways. Now, since then, those employees, I believe it was 4 of them, they've all been fired. And not only were they fired, the money was then taken back, right? Plus some. So not only did the federal government get their $59 million back, but I think they took an additional like $30 million on top of that, right? So let's get into this right now as we hear some NYC local officials cry like babies as if they're the victims when in fact they're harboring criminals. Let's get into this right now.
As Jennifer Bisram reports, City Controller Brad Lander is now calling on city officials to step in.
This is highway robbery.
New York City Comptroller Brad Lander Wednesday afternoon after he says his office found over $80 million missing from the city's accounts. FEMA funds, he says, were awarded to the city to house asylum seekers.
These are folks who, for the most part, registered with the federal government when they crossed. In many cases, got sent here by the federal government. New York City stepped up to provide shelter and services and pay for that.
It comes after Elon Musk, head of the White House's Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, claimed the money was being wasted on luxury hotels to house migrants. The Department of Homeland Security says 4 people were recently fired for making unauthorized payments to those luxury hotels. A spokesperson saying in part FEMA was funding the Roosevelt Hotel that serves as a Tren de Aragua base of operations and was used to house Laken Riley's killer. There will not be a single penny spent that goes against the interest and safety of the American people.
Sending $59 million to a migrant hotel to house illegal immigrants when there are still people in North Carolina and California who have not received FEMA funding is not something that this administration is going to tolerate.
And I'm in 100% agreement with Caroline Levitt. I believe how you say her last name. I'm in 100% agreement with her. This is completely ridiculous and absurd, right? And continuing to fund this madness just continues to create an incentive for people to want to come here legally because they know that they can escape to one of these sanctuary cities where they will be protected. Right? They will be protected regardless of the fact that they are literally criminals, right? And they're fugitives on the run because you broke federal law by coming into the country legally. But I know that I will be protected by the sanctuary cities and these DNC lunatics that run these sanctuary cities, right? Now, here's what happened post the Tom Homan, Eric Adams meeting. Some good news. Not too much was revealed because they don't want to tip their hand too much. But as you can see here, NYC Mayor Adams vows to reopen ICE office at Rikers Island following meeting with Trump border czar Tom Homan. There's a lot more that they discussed, and Tom Homan's going to address that in a moment in the video clip that I'm going to play. But because currently at this moment in time, it very much so metaphorically speaking and almost quite literally speaking, because it is Eric Adams versus NYC, right? Or I should say it is Eric Adams just versus the state of New York, and it looks like it might actually be that soon. Because that is the case, they don't want to say too much too soon and too early, right? So right now we just have this bit of piece of news, and I want to get into this right here. Mayor Eric Adams vowed to reopen the shuttered ICE office at Rikers Island following a closed-door meeting with President Trump's border czar Tom Homan Thursday. Adams, in a statement, said he was eyeing an executive order to reestablish a federal immigration presence at the troubled jail complex, with a new mandate to work with the feds on investigations targeting migrant criminals and gangbangers. And I quote, "We are now working on implementing an executive order that will reestablish the ability for ICE agents to operate on Rikers Island, as was the case for 20 years, he said. But now instead, ICE agents would specifically be focused on assisting the Correctional Intelligence Bureau in their criminal investigations, in particular, those focused on violent criminals and gangs." Ladies and gentlemen, this is just common sense. This is just common sense. And I know I've been teasing this for a while now because I'm going to actually talk about this later, and I think I'm going to go live about it tonight. But it is quite literally New York versus Eric Adams. Kathy Hochul and the NYC City Council versus Eric Adams. And a lot of you know what I'm talking about already, but I'll just leave it there. Make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to go live about it later on this evening, right? But let's get into what Tom Homan has to say right now. Let's get into what Tom Homan has to say concerning this meeting and concerning this news that we're seeing here with Eric Adams.
Border czar Tom Homan joins me now. Tom, great to see you. Now, how significant was this moment, this pledge by Mayor Adams regarding Rikers and illegals, and what message do you think it should send to Governor Hochul, who seems to be doubling down?
Well, look, it's a great first step. It's a great first step. I asked for several things, and we're going to knock them off one at a time, but getting ICE officers back in Rikers is meaningful because we agree that, you know, the worst of the worst, the firearms violations, the murders, the kidnappers, you know, will come to our attention, certain release, we can grab them. But I made it clear I want everybody. If you're an illegal alien, you get booked in Rikers Island, I don't care if it's for shoplifting. I want them. So this is a start to deal with the worst of the worst in the beginning, but I made it clear that I plan on the whole of them. I want everybody. So we're going to work toward that. We agreed to some other things that I'm not going to discuss on national TV because I don't want the city council to know what I'm doing. City council is fighting the mayor and everything. So let's surprise them on what we're coming to the table with and let them sue me. Bring it. Because I'm done. I'm not running a popularity contest. I came to New York to get meaningful action. We got a lot of words. The last meeting I had, today I came, I want action, I want a plan, and we're leaving with a partial plan, but I'll come back every week if I have to until we finish this plan. But it's a good first step to get back on Rikers Island. That's a game changer.
Now, once again, this is just common sense. This is common sense. And what they're getting ready to discuss next is why common sense is so necessary. What's going on in Massachusetts is beyond insane. In Massachusetts, as it pertains to illegal immigrants who violate children, I'll say, right? That's the word that I use. They violate children. These people will have them in custody, aware of the crime that they committed because we just arrested you for it and or charged you for it. ICE will put out a detainer for them. And in the state of Massachusetts and in the city of Boston, they will release these demons anyway. Do you hear what I'm saying? The violators of children who have crossed the border illegally, booked on violating the children, just get released. Just get released. This is madness.
We have been hearing from our own Bill Maloogian over the last really week or so, especially about these child predator illegals who have been picked up in liberal sanctuary state Massachusetts. We've seen it in other states, but for some reason, Massachusetts, all of you watching out there, that little state of Massachusetts has become a hotbed of child predators. And yet again, they're just continuing to stick by their sanctuary status. What do you say to the people of America tonight about those people who are holding on to sanctuary status?
We'll see you in court. I mean, first of all, Kristi Noem, great secretary. She's been out with the Border Patrol, been out with ICE, been out with Coast Guard. She's done more enforcement operations in a week than Mayorkas did in 4 years. and we got a great AG, right? We got a great AG. Pam Bondi's going to take these sanctuary cities on. We're going to pull federal funding. We're going to start suing people if we have to. If they impede us, actively impede us, or if they're going to harbor and conceal an illegal alien from us, especially a child predator, we're going to seek prosecution. And Pam Bondi's all in. So gloves are off, game over, we're coming. So you can hide all you want, but I'm not going to be satisfied. To every gang member, every TDA member, we eradicate them from this country. Every illegal gang member, they need to be gone. Then we'll start opening that aperture for the 1.4 million that had due process great tax rate expense. They've been ordered removed by a judge. We're coming for you next. So this is a long game, but it's an important game, and we're not going away. Sanctuary cities are not. If I got a double manpower in Boston, if I got a double manpower in New York City, and that's what we do. Me and Kristi Noem are shoulder to shoulder in this. She's just as serious as I am about this. We're not taking no for an answer anymore.
That's what I like to hear. We're not taking no for an answer anymore. And back to Massachusetts. I've been following what's been going on with the migrant crisis since the beginning. Now we're in the, you could say, mass deportation era. During the migrant crisis era, which was the Biden era, I remember as I was monitoring all these pages concerning, ICE and illegal immigration and whatnot, I thought it was my mind kind of just playing tricks on me, because your mind can do this, where you think that you're seeing something repeatedly over and over again, but it's not actually happening. Your mind is just actually blocking out the other stuff that you're seeing. What's my point? Because I'm kind of just getting convoluted. I kept seeing reports that ICE just arrested a violator of children in Massachusetts. And I would see this all the time. But I would dismiss it because I would think to myself, this can't be just something that's exclusive to Massachusetts. That's crazy. It just must be, maybe it's just me. I'm just not really paying attention. And it just so happens that every time I come online, I see it's Massachusetts, right? But as we're getting confirmation here, no, they literally have an issue over there with illegal immigrants who are violators of children, to which they just release them after arrest. Common sense clearly isn't common. And when it comes to common sense within the DNC, they're not just anti-common sense. They're just anti-American at this point. Because why would you want these people to be running around through your cities? And I'll just leave it at that, man. With all that being said, that does it for today's news. Thank you all for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms. And also don't forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Telegram. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.